guys and gals, my name is Haiti, and you are watching the 5 Worst Reasons to Hate Something. This is the very first episode in which we present the 5 worst reasons to hate the British agent that everybody knows, 007 James Bond. And why do I start with James Bond? Well, it should be pretty obvious already. Because he turns 50 years on the big screen this year. I am not going to do this video alone, though. In this video series, and my other new series as well, I'm going to have a guest with me, who's going to do these things with me so that I don't need to do them alone. And who is he? He's my very good friend, the not physically existing Mr. Voice. Great applause to him.
Well, thank you. Please, be quiet. I want to speak. I have something to say. Hey. Yeah, I am... Thank you for introducing me, Haiti. I am very pleased to meet you. And I'm very pleased to be here. And I hope our cooperation will last forever. Or at least for as long as I live. Which is probably going to be forever as I'm only a voice. So... Anyway. Yeah. I love you, Haiti. You're the best video maker on YouTube.
Alright, yeah, okay. Thanks, that was flattering. Yeah. Well, anyway, the way this works is that Mr. Voice presents 5 reasons he thinks are good reasons to hate the James Bond movies. And I, the magnificent, super good, and super intelligent Haiti, will prove these reasons bad. Not wrong, but bad. So it's actually a pretty simple thing. Everybody should understand how this show works. Even you, Swedes! Alright. Enough chittering about the show itself. Let's get to it. Let's get to the 5 worst reasons to hate James Bond. You're up, Mr. Voice.
Thank you, pal. I have thought over these reasons for the past 9 weeks or so, and I've come to a conclusion that for most of the time we all enjoy the Bond movies, no matter what is going on in them, and that's why I have thought that there are so many good reasons to actually come up with when doing these kind of lists. And I have made up a lot of good reasons to try to choose the best one of them, from which many of them...
Just get to it, please. We don't have all the day here.
Just wait until my monologue finishes. Haven't you learned any kind of manners when you were raised up by your stupid little parents? I finish my monologue and then it's your turn.
I am not interested in your monologue. Get to the subject or I'll kick you out. God damn it.
Tell me, Haiti, how do you kick out something that doesn't physically exist?
Just start the presentation, please.
Okay, buddy, just fooling around a little bit. You don't have any sense of humor, do you? Okay, here we go. Reason number 1. The fact that James Bond has 6 different appearances. How can he look different, just like that? I mean, he can't just take plastic operation after every mission, you know? How can he have 6 different faces? That is a very good reason to hate the James Bond movies.
You're so wrong, pal. You're so wrong. If you haven't thought about it, you will understand that that reason is very, very bad. Okay, let me explain here. You see, James Bond is a Time Lord. Exactly like his brother hero from Britain, Doctor Who, from the TV series, you know. He's a Time Lord, which means he can't die. Which means when he dies, he will reincarnate. So during the different movies in which Bond changes appearance, he has died, or in between those movies, he has died, and reincarnated in a new body, with new habits, with new ways to do things, stuff like that. So, you know, let's say for example, between Diamonds Are Forever and Live and Let Die, in which Bond changes his appearance. he dies somewhere in between there and reincarnates in a new body. That's the explanation. It's pretty simple. And it's logical as well. So, yeah, I think I gotcha. 1-0 to Heidi.
That doesn't explain why he changed appearance from George Lazenby back to Sean Connery. Explain that and you'll be good.
Yeah. Yeah, just do the next one, please.
Ha ha, gotcha. Reason 2. The fact that every new James Bond movie is virtually similar to the previous ones. There is no variation between them, and that's a reason to hate the series for. Try to get out of this one, fool.
Well, you obviously haven't seen even half of the movies, man. You know, there's a lot of variation between them. You know, in one movie, Bond visits space, and in another one he visits a tropical island, and some of the movies he chases after, you know, a insane megalomaniac super mastermind, and in some other movies he just chases after a regular drug dealer, and stuff like that. I mean, there's a lot of variation between them, and he doesn't even go for a car chase in every movie. That's a bad reason. Another reason to hate the series for. I could go on forever with the list, but I won't because we have limited time here, so.
And every movie opens with a gun barrel sequence, followed by a pre-title sequence and the titles. Then, James Bond gets an assignment from M and gadgets from Q, and leaves to an exotic location where he meets the bad guy and 3 Bond girls and gets drawn in a hectic chase. Every movie ends with Bond blowing the heck out of the bad guy's lair, whereafter he makes love with the Bond girl. And don't get me started on the smaller details. You'll see, no variation at all.
Yeah. Don't fix what ain't broken.
Man, I own you completely. Anyway, reason 3. The fact that everybody, including you, ignores the original James Bond books when talking about the movies. That is very bad. Very bad.
Yeah, that's a pity. Go on.
As you wish, Mr. Complete Failure. I now present reason number 4. The fact that you are making a list about the 5 worst reasons to hate the James Bond movies. If that's not a bad reason to hate the series for, then I don't know which is.
What? I mean, just what? I don't get it. What has it anything to do with the 5 worst reasons to hate James Bond movies? I mean, that's stupid. That's bad. That's horrible. That's terrible. That's not even a good reason. I understand how you can come up with something like that. No, that's not good. Get me a new reason now immediately. That's a bad reason. Oh my goodness.
Why exactly do you want a new reason? I don't get it.
Because the reason is absolutely terrible. That's why I want a new one.
Haven't you forgot about one thing? Isn't exactly that what this show is about? The worst reasons to hate the James Bond movies?
Oh. Yeah. You're right. Forgive me. I just think about that. Go on, please. Take last reason.
And finally, reason number 5. The fact that the absolutely terrible Bond movie Die Another Day ever was made.
Now we're talking, man. Now we're talking some real stuff. You know, I just have to say that just because Die Another Day sucks does not mean that the entire series suck. You know, it's just one of 23 movies, and most of the movies are decent. So, you know, that does not make the entire series suck just because one movie does that. I mean, that's completely stupid. And besides, they're only, you know, it's not even a bad movie. You know, Moonraker and Quantum of Solace are a lot worse movies than Die Another Day. But Die Another Day is actually a pretty good movie, you know. You know, besides from such small details as, you know, Madonna's cameo and theme song and Halle Berry and, you know, the poor CGI and, you know, the invisible car and pre-title sequence and, you know, the bad guy and the henchman and the action sequences and, you know, Bond and the actors and the story and the script and pretty much everything. Besides from those small details, it's actually a very good movie. But seriously speaking though, if one movie sucks, that doesn't mean that the entire series suck. That's a fact. And that's a bad reason to hate Die Another Day. I mean, hate the Bond series because you don't like Die Another Day. Just pretend that that movie doesn't exist, and you're good.
Did you just say that you liked Die Another Day? Did you say that?
No, I did not. I certainly did not say that. Why would I say anything stupid as that? I mean, it's a terrible movie. Why, by the way?
Because if you did, I will personally punish you by stealing your Bond collection and virtually bend every DVD into a ball and play tennis with them until they have become fine dust, which I will use as seasoning the next time I make a pizza.
No. You cannot touch my precious. My precious. You may not touch my precious. It's mine. It's only mine. And you won't touch it. Not my precious. Never. I will do anything to stop you from touching this one. It's my baby. It's my precious. Yeah. Mine. Not yours. Mine. Alright guys, that was the first episode of the 5 Worst Reasons to Hate Something. James Bond Movies edition. And if you enjoyed this, which I hope you did, quick rating is much appreciated. And if you want to comment anything about this series, if you want to give ideas on upcoming episodes, and just if you have some opinions about this concept, please comment in the comment section below. And if you want some more videos soon, you should make sure that you subscribe to my channel. If you're interested in more of me, visit my Facebook page and my homepage. Links are in the description below. And that's pretty much all I have for this episode. So I'll return for the next episode of the 5 Worst Reasons to Hate Something. And Mr. Voice and I will bid you all farewell. So, thanks for watching. Peace and Triforce Species. See ya.